Starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Streaming Matters. Let's see, episode 184. So taking a look and seeing people rolling up in here. And I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. Number one, you'll see that I am solo at the moment. Aubyns is feeling under the weather. He's been having some issues since last week. He wasn't feeling really well last Friday. So thoughts and prayers go out to Aubyns. And if anybody else, I appreciate it if you could throw some prayers up for him. Maybe he gets to jump in, but I don't know. He wasn't really feeling well, so we'll see if he gets home enough to tune in. We'll check it out. As always, I'd usually try to say hey to the folks that tune into us live, that watch us live, and because it is an honor to have you spending your live time watching this, not going back and watching it in a replay, and you can fast forward through parts. It's an honor to have people. You got Soheil over there in Portugal. What's up? What's up? And Skulls is hanging with us. Red is hanging with us. Bama fan. Been not seeing him in a little bit. Nice to see him. Nice to see him. Eddie, of course, always hanging out. You're always hanging with us. Miss Honeybee, what's up, my dear? And again, we are simulcast on big screen right now. So if you have an Oculus and you want to tune into big screen, there is the code. You can jump in there and watch it. Nookie, what's up, my dear? And you got Trevor hanging with us. Nice to see him. Nice to have it. Darkness is actually two lives in a row that he's going to catch us live. So it's good to see that. Jolly, 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 jolly. Get your adverbs here. No, that was lolly, 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 not jolly, jolly, jolly. So here, I'm gonna be doing this by myself, kind of like old school way. So I'm gonna do my best to try to juggle everything because normally I have Aubyns helping me, and it does give it make it a little bit easier. What's up, Leon and Trevor? Nice to hang with us. Miss Octavia. I miss seeing her on Wednesdays, and we're going to get back to that. Within the next few weeks, we're going to get back to a player pass on Wednesdays, and I love it when Octavia joins in. She's always got a lot of insight when we're watching movies. Hold on a second. Let me double check. I got. All right. Hey, I got a guest that will jump in here with me. So hold on a second. Let me throw this out to. Oh, wrong one. Hold on, brother. Hold on. I grabbed the wrong link. Let's grab that one. Toss this over here. And we'll get started. If you've not watched this show before, what we do is we try to talk about a lot of the stuff that involves that may impact your streaming or your streaming quality, or some of the tech stuff that we like to talk about. So we jump around a lot on a lot of different topics, but we hone in a lot on the streaming stuff, and sometimes the streaming outside of what normally people do. We call ourselves hobbyists, because to know all these, to follow the hobby that we follow, you have to stay on top of it, and I do my best to give you some information on that. So we're going to run through. I see a few other people rolling in here. We'll get started. We got Donald. Hey, what's up? Elthros. Ooh, yeah, be careful with the tornadoes. Be careful. So yeah, got people from all over the world watching us in the States. And so let's see, we'll be a couple minutes into this, so we'll go ahead and whoop, my man's jumped in. Mr. O'Neill's hanging with us today. What's up?
Evening, mate. You all right?
Doing well. Your camera, you just got your camera turned off. That's cool. Or
Yeah,
it's
cameras off today.
that's cool. That's cool. I just wanted to know because I didn't see any icon. So you're
Yeah,
Mr. Mystery Man.
I am mystery man.
Mystery Man. How are you doing, Mr. O'Neill?
All right, I think just busy with work and everything else that's going on. Really, just obviously saw that the subject this evening is
Yep.
something that I hope I can offer a bit of insight to and just give
Oh,
people a bit of advice and a bit of help. Really, always checking, that. Always watching.
Oh yeah.
Always
Oh
listening.
yeah. And O'Neill, if you're not familiar with O'Neill, if you're not watched a show in the past, O'Neill, so my level of tech knowledge is here, and O'Neill's is like somewhere up here. So when people say, "Oh, Dabs, you know so much," I'm like, "No, I really don't. I just have a lot of smart friends." O'Neill being one of those. He has been in the security in the tech industry, and you're on mute. Did you want to like give some small background for anybody that has not tuned into our show before to get
Yeah,
an
sure.
understanding of some of your knowledge base?
Yeah, sure. So, if we start from a professional level, I've been involved in the internet since 93, 94. Got my first job at 96 and sort of specialized my career around internet infrastructure and Linux systems administration. So the foundations of the internet, essentially the core web servers and web services and application servers that power the majority of all the big websites that you go to. So kind of just sort of sat around that really. From a streaming perspective, I've been involved in XBMC since I think version 10.
Yeah,
Back in
you
the
were
day.
before. Yeah.
I used to be one of those horrible box sellers that people hated. I ran a very large and successful. I say very large and successful. I ran
Not
a
as
big
big as
business.
Dragonbox.
No, but I ran a big one in the UK that people were
Yeah.
intimidated by, called Android TV Boxes, and we were a Minix approved retailer. We were Minix's largest retailer in the UK and Europe, and we were responsible for all of their technical support as well. So did quite some substantial work there. More recently, came out of all of that, and I'm the founder and the tech guru of Antisocial Hosting.
Yeah, which is a great hosting company. It's a small. Not to interrupt you for a second, but it is for. He helps with a lot of people that want to have a web presence, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, so you can get yourself a small server of sorts, a shared server, and you're able to use it for whatever you want. If you just want to use it for cloud storage, or if you want to use it for a wizard, or for a build, or for all the different things that you may use it for, that some of us in our hobby tend to find uses for those servers. And you're very helpful and knowledgeable and the other thing, and I'm not just trying to stroke your ego, but it's very cost effective. I mean, your service is very reasonable, and you got the knowledge that you have that can help us if we're having struggles with something on our server. You're familiar with it.
Yeah, I try and position it as because there's all these large companies out there. I mean, you can quite easily go out and buy website hosting for your blog or for your website from GoDaddy's and Network Solutions, and even go direct to someone like Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services.
Yeah.
But a lot of these companies, they don't know what we do in this hobby. They don't understand it. They don't get it. And more times they're scared of it because obviously what they see is they just see a large drain on resource, and they don't necessarily understand that you're just trying to have a bit of fun and try and make things easier for people. So what we did is what the reason I created Antisocial Hosting was because back in the day, if you remember, I was helping you guys out with Bob, and Bob was I helped you and put Bob on a dedicated server, and initially the dedicated server that you had couldn't handle the amount of traffic. Bob was very popular, and we had a very large friend that was very well known in the community, both on the good and bad side, and he couldn't get it to to work in a more efficient way. And I did some tweaking and made the thing fly. And he and you and a couple of other people, you know, were really sort of the driving force behind antisocial hosting. You just went, you provided something that no one else could do. Why don't you do this as a business and see if you can help people out? And that's essentially what I've done.
Yep.
You know, I created
And I mean, there's lots of my friends or a lot of people in this community that are using antisocial. It's a great, great service, a great web hosting. And if you want to have a website or you just want to have a URL,
yeah,
because a lot of us just need a URL. We're not looking to create a website. But
yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
and whenever we have a problem, I know I hit you up whenever I'm having a problem. Like, you know, if you got time, and a lot of times it's some simple thing that you can do quickly and fix it. So, I mean, you've got
Yeah,
a lot of knowledge. And so when we're talking about about security and we're talking about dangers, and I read this article that I posted, and I thought that this article about people being prosecuted for downloading torrents was a good subject, and it kind of give us a good base to talk about on how safe. And again, you being in security as a profession, I mean that is actually your profession, if I'm not mistaken.
that's correct. Yeah. Many years ago, I started off around 2013. I worked with a security company. We were offsec and penetration testers. So we were basically paid to find vulnerabilities and weaknesses in large websites and businesses and buildings. You know, we did the physical testing and the virtual testing through websites. And the idea being is to think like a hacker and think like a manipulative person and gain access to the things that you want to. So yeah, that started sort of 2013, and throughout the career anyway. I need to know that stuff because I need to be defense sec and not off sec to protect these things, and that's my career.
You got to be on the offense, not the defense, because if you're on the defense, people are already into your
exactly. An
into your
offensive means I'm one
database.
step ahead.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. So, all right. So I was going to bring up the first subject matter, and I've got to try to normally. Aubyns watching the side chat. So thanks everyone. I see Funster Bees jumped in here. We got a bunch of people that have jumped in here. Nice for everyone to join us. One of the things I saw on this Torrent Freak article was about a person, a regular everyday user that was actually found guilty of downloading 40 movies, and this is in Denmark. He was found guilty of downloading 40 films, and he ended up getting a 30-day suspended sentence. They gave him a sentence of 30 days and a fine of something like $380, 30-day conditional prison sentence. And for just downloading via torrents. And now people have gotten letters from their ISPs for years. That's been happening, that people get letters, cease and desist, quit downloading. We may kick you off our ISP, or if your ISP will say, well, we'll discontinue your service. But now this is really the first case that we're really seeing somebody given more than just a, hey, here's a fine of a couple $100, or hey, we're going to suspend your internet service. This is actually something that they was given a 30-day conditional prison sentence. Again, he probably most likely won't serve any time, but it's more of it's setting that benchmark. And this is just torrents. And torrents have been around for how long? No, probably 15, 20 years.
Yeah, the protocol, the
Yeah.
BitTorrent client protocol's been around for at least 15 plus years.
Yeah.
It was like the early days of things like LimeWire and such were sort of built around the Bitcoin, the BitTorrent sharing platform, the P2P sharing.
Yep.
It was there in the early days.
But I was going to explain. So for some folks that may say, all right, you guys are talking about torrents. I don't know what that is. I don't understand this. So if you're, so torrent basically is a way of getting a file, and you're getting a torrent file, and that file can be anything from an MP3 to just a PDF file to any kind of file, and it can be put into a torrent. And what it is able to do is then people can share that. And so instead of it all coming from one server and overwhelming that one server, the idea is if we share, and so one person shares it with two, so now three people have it. And so those three people share it with three more people. Now you got nine people, and it's just those that numbers. So what happens with a torrent is you're able to get small bits and pieces from other people to compile it on your system so that now you have that full file. Now, at the same time, you're sharing that file out to other people also. That's the idea of the whole peer to P2P, as O'Neill said, is sharing that file. And we've known for years that movie and TV and music has been out there, and people using Pirate Bay or other sites to download their torrents, be it movies, TV, whatever it is. And more of Hollywood is going after these people, saying, hey, we got to stop doing that, taking down sites. And that's where they've been focusing on, was the sites. But now you're kind of seeing in Denmark, they're kind of turning it. And to me, they're trying to scare people to say, hey, you could be this guy. And because when you connect to a torrent, and I've talked about this in videos past, when you connect to a torrent, your IP address is visible to anybody else that is connected to that torrent. So that's good and well for most of the people in there. But if the Motion Picture Association or Hollywood has spies or lawyers or whoever's on their team and is recording all those IP addresses, then they have a list of all the people that were downloading or had that were trying to get that content that they own rights to. So then that's when they go to your ISP. So that's how kind of how a torrent works. So sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that, but for people that don't know, that's what a torrent is. And there's more safer ways to download torrents. And so, but go ahead. I just wanted to touch base with what a torrent was, O'Neill.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So, yeah, the fundamentals are is that you're sharing a file that's split into where it can come from and who can share that file, and the companies that are looking to prosecute will run basically fake agents or fake swarms or torrent peers with the file in there and use it as a honeypot to basically see who's got it. So they'll themselves will upload the file, have it stored on their machine and share it like they would with normal torrent clients by just running the machine and having it in your torrent download list. And then they'll just see who connects to it, and they'll use the trackers to see who's connected, and then they'll get in touch with your ISP. That's been around for years, as you said. That's been around for years. I think the crucial thing here is to think about where this case is happening. So in this case, in specifics, it's happening in Denmark. Now, for our European people, they'll know that Denmark is quite a special place. For our American colleagues that are listening, Denmark is one of those European countries that takes data privacy and data security very, very high up on their list. As a person that works for a company that deals with Denmark, there's a lot of legal legislation that we have to follow and a lot of red tape that we have to follow in order to conduct business in Denmark. And we have to make very serious promises about where their data goes and who has access to it. And we have to prove it, and we have to be able to show that we're meeting the requirements of Denmark as a sovereign nation, that the data doesn't leave the borders. So from the other side of it, looking at this story and seeing what's happening, someone in Denmark has been downloading torrents and has been caught, and so they're now making a case for it to say, well, actually, this is not something you should be doing, as everyone knows, and they've decided to make an example of it. But it's also because of all the way that they treat their data and they handle their security. within Denmark, the Nordics themselves are very, very specialized in data security, municipality details where it all lives, the sovereignty of the data, and they have loads of laws and rules in place around who can and who can't access the data. So when they're trying to protect people, they're obviously doing the right thing. So it would make sense that when people bend the rules, that they would be willing to make an example out of it, because they're doing everything they can to protect people, and suddenly now someone's flouting those rules, and so they're going to make a case out of it. And that's
and it's
my
going to
view of it.
happen. And well, again, like you said, this has been a cat and mouse game for a long time. And I think that with Denmark basically setting the bar now and saying, we're going to go after you, or it's not a slap on the wrist, or it's not just a letter anymore. Now you may have more issues to worry with. And again, to me, it's kind of a benchmark case. This is not to say everyone needs to freak out, but this is a good point of, and like Aubyns says, you need to protect your neck. You need to protect yourself. And if you're going to be on the fringes of things, there's steps you got to take to be smart about this. You can be willy-nilly and say, I've never been caught in the 20 years I've been doing it. I've been torrented since, since Christ left Chicago. But that doesn't mean that tomorrow they didn't check that you were watching, House of Dragons or whatever it is. So be smart. And that's kind of like when we want to get onto this is, what are some ways of protecting yourself and being safe? Because so this is the case. And I was going to show one of the things a lot of people use is they use Pirate Bay. It's a very popular site. And I'll say up front, two things about Pirate Bay. Make sure you have a pop-up blocker turned on, number one. And number two, if you're going to use it, use a VPN, use some type of a middleman between you and the site that's going to grab those magnet links. Use a middleman. And a lot of times I'll go to this site to see which servers are up. You can see they got the server, and we can click it, and you just go right into the site. For people that don't know what a torrent works, this is I just hit unboxing because I don't really care about what the results were. I just wanted to kind of show what some of this stuff is. And we were talking about, you said swarm, right? Because when a torrent, you connect to a swarm.
Correct.
So on this swarm, you can see seeders are 63 people, and 2 people would be leeching it. So between the two, 65 people are part of that swarm. So 63 of them have the 100% of the file. 2 people are trying to get that file, and so the 63 are sharing with those 2 people. So you can imagine the speed that those 2 people are getting it at, probably as fast as their internet will let them download.
And now remember, if these are public trackers, you
Yes.
don't know who these people are that have got this file. So 9 times out of 10, or 9.9 times out of 10, you're connecting to regular people, and there's no risk. Okay, but there's always that one time that you may be connected to someone that's running a honeypot, and a honeypot being it's a honeypot. It's a system that's online, and it looks like it's real, and all it's doing is it's just taking your data. You're sticky. You're getting stuck in it, and suddenly they're absorbing your data, but they're still sharing the file with you. And then suddenly they're just recording that information. Now they may do nothing with it, and a lot of times they don't do anything with it, because how many times have people downloaded a torrent without having a VPN that masks your connection, or have used private trackers that don't have public people connecting to it without paying some sort of subscription fee, which these organizations are not really going to do, because that's kind of like, what's the term? Kind of baiting someone into it, really, aren't you?
Conflict. It's entrapment.
Entrapment, that's it. Yeah. So the law will probably be, well, actually you entrapped this person because you paid to join this private tracker, and what you were doing is real. So, but I'm not a legal person. I'm just saying that's my view of it. So don't take that.
It's too easy. I mean, because it's easy for them to get, because public trackers everyone's using public trackers, so it's easy to people to fall to that, because they don't have to sign up, like you said, to a private tracker. It's hard to get on private trackers a lot of times. So public trackers are so easy. And on this, so if I connected, like you can use your magnet link. And I was going to mention on this is that one of the things that I suggest to people, and I've suggested, I did a video talking about Real to Brid, using Real to Brid to be, for me, I use it as a go-between. Because why connect if I wanted a file, I'm not going to connect directly to Pirate Bay or any of these public trackers. I'm not going to connect directly to it because my IP address is out there, and if someone was watching that file, if they were tracking who's connecting to it, it's possible that my ISP gets information, a letter saying, "Hey, Dabs was downloading, this particular file, this Mutai fight," and there's that possibility. So if you're going to use it, one of the ideas or suggestions I have is using Real to Brid. And so that's using your Real to Brid. A lot of us have Real to Brid accounts or premiumized accounts or all to Brid accounts, or there's a couple other Debrids, Debrid free, different ones that you can use to be your middleman, to let it get the file, and then you get it from the Real to Brid site, like this one here being one of the sites. And then you're just able to, once it's on their server, you're able to get it directly from them and not from the swarm. As we said, the swarm can be anybody connected to it. So you don't want to connect to that swarm. Let Debrid or Premiumize or whoever your other company is, let them get the file, and then you get it from them. And then that allows you some protection. And I also use Scene Release. You can do the same thing with Scene Release. You can use those links and put them in Debrid or Premiumized and get those. Sometimes those work, depends on what the hosting site is. But use some of those sites to be your middleman. Do not connect to these torrent sites directly, because that's how people get caught up. And then the other big tip that I would suggest to people before we go into the other stuff was using a VPN. If you're going to be doing torrent stuff, use a VPN. I mean, a VPN is going to protect you, to keep in to make it. Can you be found out who you are through a VPN? Yes, but there's so many more steps to figure out who you are if you're using a VPN. And most people are not going to go through the cost and the expense to track down this one person that downloaded some movie or TV show. So you want to make yourself harder and harder to trace, as well to actually make it more expensive for them to go after. So using Real to Brid or using Premiumize or All to Brid, whoever you're using those to be your middleman, as well as using a VPN, because VPNs hide who you are or hide your IP address, and that is highly, highly important. I mean, there's so many times that people are downloading stuff and they'll say, and O'Neill, you've heard people say, "I've been doing this for years and never got caught." Okay,
Yeah,
don't take but once.
and then it just happens once. Yeah, I mean, the options out there is for the regular person. The options out there can be quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
For us guys in here, and for the boys and girls in the chat, and the people watching that are or have been doing this for quite some time, know of these ways of protecting themselves, and do use them. But for the regular person out there, you presume that connecting to the internet, that you're safe because you're at home and no one knows who you are. But your connection gives away so much information. Your browser, just going to a website, for example, gives away so much information about who you are. There are scripts out there that are embedded into websites. Just Google Analytics, for example, that pulls out information about the browser, the computer, the size of the screen, what website you went to before, where you've been, where you've come from, what country you're from. And in some cases, that can be localized to a town or to a city, just from your basic IP address and without any real sort of deep dive. So, there's a lot of information being given away just on a regular web browse session.
Yeah, just your browser.
Just your browser. And that's a regular browser. It's just a normal Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, whatever. You've bought your PC from Target, Amazon, wherever. You've connected it to the internet. You've gone on one of the websites that you want to go on, and suddenly all this information is being given away. And this has been around for years. Okay, this has always been there. It will never go away. It will never stop. There are some processes in place like cookie red legislation around GDPR and stuff in Europe, but that you'll never get away from it. So when you're connecting to something as technical as BitTorrent through torrent systems, you are giving away a lot of information. And you're quite right that you can mask yourself using debrids and services like that. But the real simple user that doesn't have any experience with this, they're just going to connect. They're going to connect straight away. They're not going to think about any of these things. The real basic thing you should do is, if you want to use your home PC to connect to any sort of sharing website, use a VPN. You know, you can buy VPNs for $30 that will cover unlimited devices for 3 years. And there are many providers out there, and there are websites out there that will give you honest reviews about those VPN systems, and they'll tell you how good they are and how much information they leak. And they'll also tell you if they've ever received any MPAA, you know, Motion Picture of America Association takedown requests to share information. Those sites are very good to give away that information, and they'll also have promotions as well to, you know, get people on board. But if you're going to use torrents or anything like that, use a VPN. A VPN essentially hides who you're connected from. Your internet connection may be Comcast, it may be Sky or BT or one of those providers. And as soon as you go on the internet, oh, look, you're coming from a Sky IP. I can see that. And it's a Sky IP registered to Leeds, which is a town in Yorkshire. And, you know, or you've enabled your VPN and you're connected to a local VPN endpoint, which happens to be a server down in Bournemouth with a company called C4L. And suddenly you're browsing the internet as C4L. You're not browsing the internet as Sky. So you're changing your entry point to the internet. And that's what a VPN does. It's essentially running a very long cable from your house to another entry point to the internet.
That's a good way of putting it. I like how you put that. It changes your entry point to the internet. That is a perfect, for me, I'm a visual thinker. It changes your entry point to the internet. So instead of it being here in your home, it's changed your entry point to someplace else, even another country.
It's like connecting to your neighbor's Wi-Fi and browsing the internet on your neighbor's Wi-Fi. That's exactly how it works. It just changes your entry point to the internet. And that could be exactly in another country to bypass any local restrictions on websites. For example, if you wanted to you know, buy something on a American Amazon, and you know, it's not available in the UK or in Europe, but the American site's got it, and you want to go on there and do it. The other thing that people do it for is Xbox games. So Xbox games in Europe or PlayStation games are very expensive on the stores. But if you go to, like, and I'm going to use this term really loosely, and I apologize if I've offended anyone, third world countries or countries with a lower technical uplift, you can go and buy those games a lot cheaper.
And it's people, I've known people use it for Netflix, because the content in the US on Netflix is not the same content that's allowed in that Netflix has in the UK or in Europe. So there are people I know that would connect on a VPN and watch Netflix on a VPN, and they're watching it through a US port. So they're able to watch the US content that way. So there's multiple reasons to use a VPN. I will suggest this restoreprivacy.com. Again, this is a website they give a lot of reviews, does a lot of comparisons. You can do like they have comparisons where it's doing different ones. So like here, I just clicked on one, Nord versus ExpressVPN, gives you the options between the two. What's the pros? What's the cons? And again, YouTube and bloggers, every one of them's got damn affiliate links to some VPN. I mean, because there is lots of money to be made in this arena. So a lot of VPNs will give affiliate links to bloggers, whoever, tubers, and say, hey, post this on there. Anybody that signs up, you'll get what X amount of dollars, from every time someone signs up. So you're going to find these links everywhere, and people will, not to say people lie, but people are going to promote what's helping their pocket a lot of times. Because, if Nord was giving me $5 for every time someone signed up, well, sure, I'm going to say Nord's great, because I'm getting $5 every time someone signs up. So be careful of who you follow and where you find the link. I highly suggest something like this: restore privacy. Check the website out. Read the pros and cons to each VPN, because not all VPNs are equal. You and I talked about that before, O'Neill. That VPNs take a massive amount of. They need a lot. They get a lot of traffic. So if you're not an infrastructure that's built for that traffic, your VPN is going to suck. And as more and more people jump on, it could sound cheap and sound, could be dirt cheap, but if you got bad servers, the whole service sucks. So
Yeah.
read about it, do some comparisons, figure out which one of these works best for you, which one of these might fit your needs, because your need may not be the same as my need. That may not be the same as
Yeah.
O'Neill's.
And
So
when you're
I'll
connected
post this
to
URL. I'll post this over in the room. And again, read on your own. Not to say YouTube or bloggers lie, but some people exaggerate because they're getting money back. So
one thing to say about VPNs as well.
Yeah,
when you run a VPN and you click connect, it tends to connect you to the one that's closest to you, and
good point.
it's a round robin connection. It basically, so these providers have a lot of servers in the local regions. It will say one country. It doesn't mean there's one server. They may have 10. Every time you connect, you'll connect to a different one. I know this from experience. I also know this from a professional side, because we've spoken about this in the past, but the company I work for owns one of the large VPN providers, and I'm not going to say who, but I know their infrastructure and I know how it works, and it's all based on which server's got the least number of connections, but which one's closest to you, and then there's like a round robin, and some of them are favored over others. But when you try these VPNs, and a lot of them offer you like a 7-day trial or a 30-day trial for you to try, don't just connect and think, oh right, I'm done, and do my test and it's really slow. Disconnect, connect to another one, or try a different country. You may find that the connection in a different country might be quicker. But obviously, if you're going to use a smaller country, think about the population. You're connected to, I don't know, the Philippines, but you live in America. Your connection's got to go all the way around the world to the Philippines to then enter the internet and then come back to a website in the Americas. That's a long distance, and light can only go so fast because it's all fiber. The internet is built on fiber, which is light. It's light over data over light, and it can only go so fast. So if you're in America and you're connected to the Philippines or a server on the other side of the country, and then you expect to go to a website in America, and it's really slow, think about distances.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things I've told people that, and again, these are tips that when I've talked to people, and when I saw this, the article that came out with Torrent Freak about the guy that was prosecuted and there in Denmark, it made me think about a lot of the conversations I've had with people, and I'm saying, okay, you have to figure out what your level of risk is. I always tell people, what's your level of risk? What are you doing? How are you trying to protect? What is it that you're doing that you're trying to protect? So you figure out your level of risk, and then you figure out what are the steps to keep me from putting myself in harm's way. How am I going to limit my risk? And I tell people all the time, when you're using a VPN, don't wait until the big event is on, or you got people over at your house, or it's time for you to tune in to watch some event. Because most times, in my range of people that I know, they'll want to watch a game or an event, MMA or a footy game or whatever. Don't wait till right when that time comes to go find out which is the best city that works for your VPN. You need to figure that out prior and say, hey, I got good speed going to these cities. These cities I don't. And so add those cities to your favorites. so that when it comes time for the big game, or it comes time for that, you need that best speed because it's time for you to watch whatever event you're wanting to watch. Here's my short list of cities that I know that I've had good speed. Now, speed can change depending on how many people jump onto that server, because maybe when you checked it on Monday, it was light traffic, but here it is Saturday afternoon, it's heavy traffic. So that could change. But give yourself a smaller list to make it quick as you're going through those VPN cities or servers to try to find the best one that's going to work for you. That's going to give you the fastest speeds, the less lag and buffering. Because more times than not, especially in the UK or in a lot of the Europe for the Premier and the Championship League, those people talk all the time about, well, my service worked fine until the big game. And in these leagues, the ISPs in the UK block certain IP addresses when the big games are on, when Premier League is on, or the Championship League is on, or with Champions, ain't it? Champions.
It's the Championship League, and then you've got the Premier League,
Premier.
and then if there's like a real high profile fight on, like
Yep.
Anthony Joshua versus like Tyson
Yep.
Fury, for example, that's going to pull in so much requirement for people wanting to watch it, and they'll obviously push people to the £29 one-off fee for the fight, but they're losing revenue because people are going to the other services that you can get.
Yep.
And so they're going to start to block them. They're going to make it really difficult for those people to watch those fights, and that's where your VPN comes in, because again, suddenly you've got BT or Sky who and for the people that are not in the UK, Sky, one of the biggest broadband companies, own the biggest TV company as well, that have all of the rights to the football and all of the rights to the boxing. So they have the infrastructure to be able to block people. So you turn your VPN on, you're no longer on Sky, you're on some buttfuck company in wherever, and you're browsing the internet from there, and then you're able to watch the match and get around it. And so there are blackout times, and those services, we won't I'm purposely not saying what they are.
I know. Because I mean, we're not. Neither one of us are affiliating link. We don't need neither have affiliate links to try to make
But those services to watch TV that you haven't paid for using those boxes, they come from Europe. So there are, as you mentioned, IP addresses in Europe that can be blocked that prevent people from watching those streams, and they have services out there that scan the internet looking for those service providers, and they hide themselves very well, but they all come from 5 different data centers in Europe, because those are the 5 data centers that say, we don't care what you put in our network. You can, if you want to run one of these services, you can do. And they all come from the same place. But it's all about just trying to drive revenue and try and maximize their revenue. They've paid a lot of money for these fights. They want to capitalize on it and get their name out there. And so they're going to stop people from using the free services or the paid for premium services to watch the football or the boxing or the whatever.
And it's a very, again, I dealt with this earlier this week about people that say, well, my service works fine until I was watching, kickoff. The kickoff started. And like you said, there's blackouts that your big companies, your BT, your Sky, Virgin, that when the big games are on, they have a whole list of the blacklist IPs and they block them all. So maybe your service was great until right at kickoff, because your service is on that list. So again, that's why you would want to have a VPN. You change your location. You're not on Virgin's internet ISP anymore. You're on something else, and just being able to protect. And again, it's not just to be able to watch that, but it's also to protect, so that someone's not knocking on your door saying, well, we saw that you were watching this and this, and you getting a letter. Protect what you're doing. Protect your neck. I mean, Aubyns, I keep thinking I hear Aubyns saying that in my head. Protect your neck. doing a few things can protect you. I
Yeah.
did see somebody over here. What was it? Usenet. I saw Dave. Dave mentioned Usenet, which is a different network, but again, it's another network that works very well if you're wanting to get certain files. That it's you're able
Use
to
that
get
actually
those.
predates
Yes,
BitTorrent. It predates
yes, it
BitTorrent.
does. Yeah.
Your news groups
Um,
used to be like alt dot binaries dot
yeah.
triple X or alt dot binaries
Yeah.
dot movies or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were essentially just forums, and people used to upload files. And now the technology's
Yes.
changed, but they're still news groups, and use a
Yeah.
different process to get the file from
Right. You're not
their.
peer to peer. So
No, you're a
if you,
single connection to a server
yes,
that's
yes,
distributed, that has the
yeah,
file on in loads of
yes.
different shards.
Right. So and again with Usenet, news groups. That's another word that people will use is news
Yep.
groups for Usenet. It is another option. You're not using BitTorrent, you're using a different one, and it does work really well. I have a Usenet account. I've had it for years, and it used to be Usenet used to be free to everybody. You got to kind of pay for it, but it used to be free just about to. I remember my ISP used to give you free, and then I
Yeah,
think
they stopped it
they
then, didn't they?
figured it
'Cause it was
out.
too expensive.
I think they figured out what we were doing, and they're like, "Oh no, you don't have that no more."
A lot
Um,
of the news group providers offer, they will either offer a free VPN, or they'll enable SSL on the news group connection. If they offer either of those services, take them. SSL or
SSL.
HTTPS, when you're browsing a website, encrypts your connection between you and the server that you're talking to. That's how you can enter credit card details. Someone can't do
Right.
a man in the middle sniff attack and
Nope.
get your data. They can see which website you're connecting to. So your ISP
Yes.
can see that you're connecting to Amazon.com, but they can't
Yeah.
read your traffic, and without changing things, which you can't do
Yeah.
because the HTTPS technology will go, hang on a minute, something's changed. The ciphers
Yeah.
don't match. Our handshake doesn't match. There's something going on here, and it'll present you a big warning that says stop. With news groups, you can enable SSL, and so they'll
SSL.
see SSL. That's correct. Yep.
Yep.
And they'll see you connecting to server 1.mynewswebsite.com or something like that, but they don't know what transaction is going on. They'll just see the connection, but they can't see what's going over it because it's encrypted. SSL or HTTPS is an encrypted connection. Coupled with a VPN, you're covered, you're protected, you cannot be seen. That's why people say to you, never ever put your never ever put your credit card details in a website that doesn't show the little padlock in the bottom corner or the top corner, depending on which browser. The same can be said with your newsgroup services as well. If you can get away with using HTTPS, even if it's $1 more or £1 more, enable it. It will save you a lot of hassle. Did I drop or did he drop? It looks like I dropped. No, he dropped. Oh, looking at the live thing. Hello, everyone. It's just me. So obviously technical issues here on Dabs' side. Apologies for everyone that is watching. Hello, Mum and Dad. So yeah, I think I'll just carry on with this very quickly. Like Aubyns says, protect your net. You need to really think about what the risk carries for you. This poor chap in Denmark that's been prosecuted. We don't know what has happened to him in his personal life. Now, if you get a criminal record, you may lose your job. Your partner may not like you, so on and so forth. So it's a bit it's a bit bad. So he's just texted me saying that he's going to be on in a second. His PC locked up. I can see a question that came up on the screen from Joanne. What is a safe browser? Well, that's an open-ended question. It depends on your OS of choice, but all of the browsers are pretty much safe these days. They have evolved and have protections in place. The common browsers are obviously Microsoft's Edge or Internet Explorer. Google have their own version of Chrome. There is also an open source version of Chrome, one that you can tweak. It's called Chromium. You then obviously have Safari, Opera. And then if you want to go into like the more customizable ones, aside from Firefox, you've got Brave, which is built on Chrome, and it has some security built in and will protect you from various pop-ups. So it'll have things like pop-up blockers in place, so on and so forth, to stop you from, having your screen inundated with loads of toolbars or pop-ups and says, go buy here, and hey, there's Lonely Singles 2 miles away from you, and all that kind of stuff. I think he's having real issues at the moment. He keeps messaging me on my other phone, and it's really struggling at the moment for him. So he'll be here as soon as he can. But yeah, there's quite a lot of browsers out there. In the early days, we had Netscape, which is what Mozilla Firefox is now. It was based off Netscape. We had very early days of Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer was quite insecure. These days, they're all good. What people look for from a browser is being able to customize it and stop things like pop-ups, and to really be told that what you're doing is safe or insecure, by visiting a website that has been blocked or something like that. AOL. I see Dave just mentioned AOL in the chat. Yeah, AOL was one of those weird services, America Offline. In the early days of AOL, you were confined to the AOL application, and you couldn't leave AOL to use the internet. You had to use their browser, which obviously was very insecure in its time. Yeah, let me just keep an eye on these messages that he's sending me. So apologies for a second. He's going to reboot. Hold tight. He's having issues. Obviously, everyone give him a little bit of grief when he comes back. It's clear that we need to get his YouTube monies up so he can get a better PC. When am I going to play more mini golf? I would love to play more mini golf. The beach. It's been very difficult for me recently to play anything. A lot of my hobbies have taken a bit of a back seat. I'd absolutely love to come and play. Let's have a look. Tor browsers. Okay, so a Tor browser. So Tor is a different protocol. It's essentially the Onion network, which is what the URL suffix is of the dark web or the hidden internet. And a Tor browser will... so I'm trying to get my terminology right here and get my understanding. It's been a while since I've used Tor fully. But a Tor browser will connect you to the hidden sites using onions. So onion is the suffix of the hidden internet using onion routers that are the next level down on the internet. And there's a lot of things in there because it's a decentralized network that you can run more dark and dirty and wonderful things on. Wonderful is probably a loose term, but the Tor browser adds a secondary level of encryption because it encrypts between you and the Tor router, and so the connection is encrypted. But browsing regular websites won't necessarily benefit from a Tor browser, apart from some loose connectivity blockers like a pop-up blocker or something like that. They really come into play when the site is hidden on the dark web. So you have things like marketplaces where you can buy and sell things that you don't really want to see, like the Silk Road and stuff like that. And he's back. Welcome back.
I only need to reboot my computer. That's okay.
I kind of felt like God. I was like, oh, I'm on my own here. This is bad. Apologies.
No, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I got too many things. I should have rebooted my computer. Normally, I reboot my computer right before we do the show to just clean out the resources and get it up. And I was like, I rebooted a couple of days ago. I'm okay. And it's a problem because I have I have 3 different browsers open, as well as Telegram and all the other BS that's running. Yeah.
So I was just answering some questions.
Yep.
Very good questions coming in through the chat. Obviously, if you're watching this live, then feel free to post your questions, and we'll answer them as soon as we can. I've just seen Joanne sort of say, "Thanks, I'm newbie to this stuff. Why a
Yep,
VPN?"
that's my sister. Yep.
So, Joanne, a VPN is just to basically hide where you enter the internet from. So instead of it being your house on your internet connection with your bill that you're paying for, you're essentially changing your location to the internet. You're saying that you are coming from a different place. It bypasses any restrictions that are imposed against your internet service provider. It ensures that your connection is encrypted. It ensures that your connection is safe, and your internet service provider, the people that you pay the money to access the internet, can't see what you're doing.
You're right. That's a good point. All right, so I'm going to grab some more links. We'll jump over to the second thing that I was going to bring up, and I apologize because it's going to be a few seconds for me to get this stuff because when I have Vivaldi going, I like Vivaldi, and I have all my tabs open, which is probably a problem when I have as many tabs as I have it open. But it doesn't run a problem.
Just to answer Joanne,
Yep.
absolutely. If you so Todd has said a couple of times, if you want to protect your neck, then yes, absolutely get a VPN. But as Dave has just said, it all depends on what you're doing. If you're doing just regular website browsing, then you don't need a VPN. If you want to bypass restrictions on, say, Netflix or websites that are geo-blocked, so for example, you're in America and you can't watch a website in Canada and whatever, then do that kind of stuff. Use a VPN. It's all about just assessing what you need it for. One size doesn't always fit all. If you're doing regular browsing, you don't necessarily need a VPN. However, the counter argument to that is you're on the internet. You're kind of a target. So protect yourself at all matters. For $30 for 3 years, run a VPN. Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, Joanne, I know what I know. I know the things you do. You most likely would be perfectly fine without a VPN. The items that you do is not a problem without a VPN. But if you're wanting that one level of one more step of protect yourself, a lot of us in the groups that we run in the circles, it is. I would suggest it for a lot of the people in my circle. Oh, how about if I turn on this light? Hold on a second. But for you, Joanne, you probably get away without it. But we can talk about that further when we get off air. I can talk to you because most of the things you're doing with Plex and different items like that, you really don't need a VPN for those things. But it does give you some level of protection especially a lot of people are nervous about their information getting out there, and this is another set of information getting out there, which was the DoorDash issue, which we talked last week about. Plex had a security breach where information got out about your username and passwords. And we talked about that last week. Change your Plex password, because not that you need to worry about people getting on your Plex server, but because the majority of people use just a few passwords. So if your email and password for Plex is the same one that you're using at your bank, that's where you could run into a problem if that data got out on a data breach like this. So DoorDash mentioned in this that the data breach on this, people's names and stuff like that, their names, their addresses, and it just goes to the thing we talked about it last week about don't use the same password over and over and over and over. Figure out a system that's going to get you to get those passwords safe, and that you're able to keep track of it. Some people write them all down on a piece of paper. That's all good and well, unless someone comes in your house and takes that piece of paper, which odds of that are very low. But having those passwords and having different passwords for different things is beneficial to you and safer for you. So make sure. Let's see, what is this? Then it's your bank's password that you need to change before you worry about. You're right, Dave. Yeah.
So this is a lot of
Yep.
banks now, and a lot of other websites are forcing you down the MFA or the 2FA route, two-factor authentication. So you go to log in, and it's asking you either to accept a message on your phone via text message to the registered number, and it's got a
Yep.
code,
Yep.
and you put that code in, or you run something like Google Authenticator or Authy by Twilio, which is one of the companies that's listed there as a breach, but they don't store that information upstream. What they do is they have these RSA tokens. So every 30 seconds, the code changes, and it's synced with the application on the website that you're using. So you
Yep.
go to it, it says enter the code from your 2FA, and you put the code in, and you go in. My bank does it. So
Yep.
I bank with a banking organization in the UK. I have two of them. I have Monzo, and I have my own private bank account. And when I go into my bank account's web front end, they want me to do a 2FA code. So that gets sent to me as a text message based on the registered number. That gives me a code that's valid for a minute, 2 minutes. I put that code in. It verifies that I am the person that has the registered device, the phone number, and I can then log in.
And it's not, this isn't going to, not going to, that doesn't mean you're locked perfectly that nobody will ever get into your account. It's just that one more step of making it more difficult, because most criminals are going to go for the path of least resistance.
Yeah, the
So
low
if you
hanging
c-
fruits, the one they
yeah,
can get
it,
into really
yeah,
quickly.
things that they can go into. If they've got to jump through a bunch of hoops to get into your account, and that's not worth it. They're looking for time. Let's get through it. So the two-factor, most people hate doing this. Most people are like, I don't want to have to do this. I already know my password. I put it in there. But this isn't just about being inconvenient for you, because let's think if someone steals your logins for numerous things. Let's say your bank, which, let's say they steal your login for your bank. How long is it going to take you to fix the problems that they create in your banking account? How long is it going to take you? How many calls? How many emails? How many times you got to go into your bank? How many times do you got to keep monitoring how you got to lock down your credit? You got to do all kinds of things if somebody gets into your account. But if you do these two factors to keep someone from getting into it, that few extra seconds isn't nothing compared to the time you're going to save if
Yeah.
someone does get into your account.
So there's
Most,
lots of
yep,
attacks around that as well. So
yep,
people on social media, for example, right? So if you're an Instagram user, this is seen quite a lot on Instagram. If you're an Instagram user and you add someone and they've got like a screenshot of money and they're like, "Hey, do you want to get some free money? I'm going to help you out here." What they'll do is they'll send you to a link which basically resets your Instagram account. It's like the Instagram reset
yep,
page. And they say, "Okay, so you've been there. It's asking you for a code. I need that code. Can I have that code, please?" And they're already on the same page. They've already changed your password. They just need that code that you're about to generate by going to it, thinking that it's a good deal, that they're going to give you free money. You give them the code. Suddenly they've got control of your Instagram account. They can then get in and they can do stuff. There's also a very good website. It might be worth bringing this up in a new tab. Have I been pwned? PWNED. So have I been pwned? So have I been pwned is a public and free service for you to check a database by a very well-known security researcher. And what this guy does, his name's Scott Helm, and he has this website that searches all of the public dumps of personal identifiable data, so your email address, that has been dropped into these extractions and leaks and stuff like that.
the dark web.
Put your email address in there. If your email address appears in there, start changing your passwords. It's always good process to change your passwords. Never have the same password for your bank with your Facebook account. Never have your same password for this and that. You can get Chrome across all of your PCs and your phones, whether it be Android or iOS. If you're signed into the same account, you can generate a very long secure password on one device. It will save it to your account and it will sync across all of your devices, so that when you go to the same website on your phone, it will say, "Hey, I've got this password. Would you like me to enter it for you?" And you say, "Well, yes, please." And they'll go, "Right, okay, so you've got an Android phone. I'm going to give you a thumbprint recognition to open the keychain. If it's iOS, it will validate your keychain entry by looking at you to see that it is you using the biometrics. Unlock the keychain, enter the password, you're done.
Yeah.
But
I
Have
mean,
I Been Pwned is a very good site to have a look at.
yeah, I posted that over in the room for everybody because I think that that's definitely, I'd never heard of this site, but this is because we
Yes.
you get emails all the time. I got an email not too long ago from Nvidia. Nvidia said, you may want to change your passwords because our site. Again, am I worried about anybody getting in my Nvidia account? Well, hell no, I'm not worried about that.
But
And
if
if
you
they
use the
did,
same password,
but if
where?
I'm using the same password somewhere else, if it's an email and password, that's golden because then they know, well, maybe you're using it on your email account, the same, and then they're into your email account. So,
Yeah.
take the extra steps, protect your neck, be smart about what you're doing because it's easy to, take these steps, even though it sounds like a lot of hassle. But I'm telling you, talk to anybody that's had their identity stolen or their bank accounts hijacked.
And if
Ask them
people
how much
ring you,
time they spent to fix it.
on the phone and say, "Hi, I'm calling from Microsoft. I understand that you've got a problem with your PC because we've just been notified by your ISP. I want to install some software on your machine so I can have a look
Yeah.
at it for you." Do not fall for it. Microsoft do not
Negative.
ring you. These companies do not ring you. Your bank does not ring you. And if people ring you and ask you to confirm PII, personal identifiable information,
Yep.
ask them where they're from. Go and get
Yep.
the recognized number from the internet, ring them back. Don't give away your personal details on
Yep.
the phone, over the email, over text message, anything. Always validate that the caller or the sender is the right person that you need to speak to. But these people, they don't need to know your details. Dave or Steve that works at the bank, they don't need to know your details because they can access your account if they work there. The people that are asking you for these details don't work there.
One of the other things, and this sounds silly, and again, people watching the show probably like, Dabs, I don't know what you're telling. If you see a link on Facebook, stop clicking them. Stop clicking the damn password. These links that come from your friends that says, "Hey, I just saw you in this photo. Hey, is this you? Hey, I saw that you died. Hey, check out who just died. Hey, check out our classmates. Hey, check out this." There's these people do this constantly, and I laugh at, why are you clicking this? If you don't know that someone sent you a link and why they sent it to you, don't click it. Send them a message that says, send them or give them a call. Send them, do it through your phones. If you're someone that say, did you just send me a link to something? And if you text them and they're like, yeah, I've sent you this link for whatever, and you can validate that that's truly the right person, then open the link. But the thing on Facebook where you see people because it sends it out to every single one of your contacts when you click that link. So you got to stop clicking links, especially unsolicited links. Stop clicking them.
So I'm going to
Question.
admit to something
Yep.
now. I'm
Yeah,
going to
bud.
admit to something, and this is going to be embarrassing. But
Oh,
I've
Jesus.
I've been done by this. I've been done by something similar. Now, bearing in mind, I've just talked about my career and my
Yeah.
background.
Mr.
So
Security guy. Yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
so a good friend of mine, I say a friend of mine, someone that I worked with on the doors. I used to be a bouncer. I used to be a nightclub bouncer in my spare time. Many years ago, I worked with this guy, and I know full well that he had 2 Facebook accounts because he was a bit of a naughty guy and he was doing things behind his girlfriend's back and, so on and so forth. And he popped up on my screen on my Facebook and started messaging me. He's like, "Hey, dude, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, mate, yeah, it's great. How are you?" And we started talking about things, but we were talking about things that only he would know because it was
Right.
in his thingy. He's like, "Listen, I'm struggling, right? I'm seeing this new girl, and I've left insert wife's name, and it was his wife's name and everything. And he's like, "Listen, I need some money, and I hate to ask, but can you lend me some money?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. This is someone I know. I trust
I
this
got to
guy."
try that.
And he gave me some banking details, and I sent him some money. I was like, "So you're going to pay me back?" He's like, "Mate, listen, I'll pay you back in 2 days." I was like, "Yep, no problem at all." And the conversation was natural. It was a conversation between
Yeah.
him and me and him on Messenger. I knew him. He was talking about things that he would know about. You know, we talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the death of
Weird.
someone that we worked with, the death of you know, this guy that we liked and we trusted, and then he was like telling me all these kids' names, and he had all the information because it's all public on Facebook.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't him. It wasn't him. I sent £30, which isn't a lot of money, but it's
No.
£30 to a bank account. I was like, dude, whose bank account's that? He's like, it's my girlfriend, my new girlfriend's name. It was a female's
Yeah.
name. I was like, yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. So I sent it from my Monzo account. It went there. And I was like, okay, so cool, you pay me back. He's like, yeah, mate, no worries. And we carried on conversation. We was having a laugh and that. What I didn't do was pick up the phone and ring him and be like, hey, dude, you've just asked me money. Is everything okay? What I did was
Yeah.
trusted that Facebook conversation that it was him.
Yeah.
And then I saw him in town about a year later because he never paid up. I was like, mate, you owe me money. He's like, no, I don't. It's like, you do. Look, and I showed it to him. He's like, bro, I'm not being funny. But that's not me.
Mm.
And so someone had gained access to his Facebook account that he didn't know about.
Yeah.
Was messaging me and God knows who else, pretending to be him, knowing all of his personal information, talking about things that we only we would know about, and asking us to send money. And we sent money.
That guy,
You know?
whoever the person, now most people would not go to the links that guy, whoever went to, because
Well, they didn't send me a link. It
to
was
pay.
just
No, but he paid attention to all
yeah.
those details to be able to gain your trust. They played the long game. And
oh yeah, he did. He played,
yes.
and I got done out. I think it's 30 quid. It's nothing much, right?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
bothered about that. But how many people were successful because
Yeah.
this
Or
person
send more
knew all of
than
the
that.
information that only me and him, or me, him, and other people in that circle would know about. And you know, we were talking about, as I say, the death of this guy that we knew, that was a very good friend of both of ours. And then we were talking about other people. It's like, oh, this him, and then it's like, it's not him.
Yeah, wasn't him. So yeah, again, I saw some people over in the side chat said that it happened to them. Again, I am super paranoid when it comes to links when people send me on Twitter or send me a link through Facebook or any of those things. I am very slow to it. I almost got caught with I saw that you died, or I think that I saw that you were in obituary, which came out about a year and a half ago. I was this close to clicking it, and I'm thinking, no, this can't be right. And then I waited, and about 3 or 4 hours later, the guy posted, "Hey, don't click that link," on his Facebook. So it can get you. So if like O'Neill said, hit up the person if they're asking you to click a link. Ask something that's only they're going to know, or send them a text, say, "Hey, is this link okay?" It's so easy to do that on the front end and not have to deal with it on the back end. All right, so I was going to show you. We'll jump over here because we're about an hour and some on in here since I since I screwed up and got booted off.
Yeah,
Frozen
sorry.
my
Every
computer.
time I come on, we always tend to go for ages. I apologize.
Yeah, hey, between you and me, you know me. My sister will tell you I got the gift of gab. My whole family will know that I own it. But it's like that is what it is. So we'll run through some of these other topics that I'd grabbed. Amazon wants to buy up EA, Electronic Arts, in we know that a lot of these big companies are buying other companies and they're creating these gigantic companies, which in itself is not good because you're too big to fail kind of things. But a thing that in this article, and I have the hyperlinks are down below. So if you guys want to read full articles of anything we talk about, the links are down below. So that if you think I leave something out or if you want to read it more in depth, you can. But what this article talks about is that Amazon is not a gaming they're not a gaming platform. They're not a gaming. They don't. They're not a gaming company. They're a product company. And how much is Amazon going to put into Electronic Arts to keep it really going? Because if times get hard with Electronic Arts, and Amazon's looking at the P&L form or sheet, and they're seeing that Electronic Arts ain't making money, who's to say Amazon don't say, you know what, we'll just go ahead and ditch Electronic Arts and we'll break it all up because we'll get what money we can get out of it. Um, and that's bad for gamers. So these big companies buying up the smaller companies, or even big Electronic Arts, I need a small company, but buying these companies is that in Electronic Arts' best interest if Amazon owns them? Is Amazon going to pour money into to push their software forward? Or
So Amazon is
yep,
actually primarily a data company. So
hmm
Amazon owns so much data on you, but they also own Twitch.
yep, yep,
So Twitch is on the face of it, what we see Twitch as is a gaming platform for people to share videos.
yeah,
What that actually translates to for Amazon is what games are people playing, who's watching them, how much time do people spend on there, how much money are these people sending, and how much money are we making out of it. Now, EA, and again, this comes back to a regionalized area, but Electronic Arts in the UK sell a very successful football franchise called FIFA.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
yep,
or you guys call it soccer, but
yeah,
FIFA in the UK is the biggest game on like the PlayStations and the
yep,
Xbox.
yep,
Every kid wants it, and every kid wants the best team going, right?
yep,
But in order to get that, you've got to buy coins. So you've got to spend money. And there are well-known stories out there of kids using their parents' credit cards and running up £6,000 bills on the PlayStation for buying coins just to get the best player. Think about that from a data perspective. There's microtransactions going on in game.
hmm
Amazon already got all the data from people that visit Amazon.com and buy stuff. They've got all the data from people that do Twitch, and they're getting revenue from that. And now they've got the biggest game franchise in the world, people buying microtransactions, playing it for extended hours and extended periods of time. They will make money out of it. And EA do make money. They just
but
don't make as much as they want to because people get
right.
get really annoyed with this whole. Well, I've just paid £60 for the game, but now I've got to spend another
Yeah.
£1,000 to get the following.
Well, in the U.S., you got Madden.
Yeah.
Electronic Arts makes Madden, or any of the NBA, what's it, the NBA Live or NBA 2Ks. They may not be EA, but EA's got tons. But the problem is that, all right, so if your ownership sees the future in the development of games and the development of this technology, Electronic Arts has been there from Electronic Arts. I want to say you go back to the
90s.
Genesis. The
90s.
Genesis. I remember Toe Jam and Earl, or no, the one with the worm. Shit, I can't remember. It was
F1
Electronic.
Gym.
Yeah. Earthworm Jim was Electronic Arts game. Madden was back then. So they've been in it. So what the article talks about is it in the best interest of video gamers for a tech company, a data company, to own it? Because are they going to take it in the direction, or when times get hard, are they going to scrap it? And one of the other things in this article it talks about is as we combine companies together. So video games aren't just the guys writing the code. You've got graphic artists, you got all kinds of people in all different positions. So when you have a lot of different companies, that's employing lots of people doing the same job but in different companies. When you combine those companies together, well, now we don't need our promotion department doesn't have to be as big. We don't need all those people. We can get away with this. Maybe how many people do we need in arts if we combine all those companies into one? We only need so many graphic artists. We only need so many. So what this article talks about is as we let these big companies continue to buy up all the smaller companies to be more profitable, it's not good for the economy in whole, but it's not good for gaming moving forward. And one of the things in here, it said, one of what the articles said was when Microsoft was trying to buy Activision,
Yep.
Microsoft has skin in the game. They've got the Xbox, they've got the PC. So it's important for them to make games and make them fun because they got to sell those platforms. Whereas Amazon, I mean, yeah, you can order it from Amazon, but
Yeah.
Amazon doesn't have the skin in the game that Xbox or Sony. Sony's another one. Sony, you know, they're living and dying by, maybe not dying, but
But they
they're
do have the platform where
they're
people are streaming
yeah,
it.
that PlayStation is humongous. So you think about their profit margin. And so when we see these big companies, especially like with Amazon buying, you know, buying EA, it is something to be concerned with, and we'll just have to see. I mean, none of us have control, but it is
No.
concerning of where they go with this. And yeah, you're right. They want to sell it for the data. They want, it's profitable. But
Yeah.
at what point do they start saying,
And
you
then
know
it'll
what?
start being sponsored on Twitch, and
Yeah,
they own Twitch, and so they'll push EA on Twitch, and then more people want to play. I mean, I showed my wife Twitch. She'd never heard of it, and I
yeah,
said to her, like, here, look, this website, because I've started to play games and stream on
yeah. I've
PC,
seen you.
and she's like, I don't get it. I was like, what don't you get? She's like, why would you sit there and watch some kid playing a game? And I was like, right, well, let's go and show you something. So I went into GTA, and Zerka was playing. So Zerka is a part of a group called Sidemen. Sidemen have some very big gamers in there, and one of the big gamers is KSI, who's also a boxer that boxed Logan Paul and has an energy drink with him called Prime. And his co-star in the Sidemen, called Zerka, was playing a game of GTA. He had 14,000 people watching him live play the game.
Hmm.
He's like, I don't get it. I went, yeah, but now watch this. And she's like, what am I looking for? I went, look at all the people sending him money. Why are they
Yeah,
sending him money? Because
yeah, yeah,
they want to see him pay. But Twitch also then take a little bit of that money off the top.
yeah.
So Amazon are
And
getting
people
all that
want to
money.
see their name. They want to see their name come across the top too. I
Yeah.
think people do it to see their name and maybe be mentioned by the. I mean, I've watched. My son did that. Was it Doctor Disrespect or whatever?
I
Ain't that
don't
what
know.
his Disrespect? I think it's Doctor Disrespect. He was on Twitch. My son was watching that, and he would watch it like religiously, and there would be people giving hundreds of dollars,
Yeah, because they
hundreds. I mean,
want to be at the top of the leaderboard.
yeah.
So look at me, I've spent all this money on this guy, but now Amazon are making money off that. And if they have a big game franchise company like EA, they're going to make money off it. It's not going to be a bad purchase from them as a business. It might be a bad purchase for the consumer, just
Yeah.
simply because it's another platform that's giving data to Amazon, which is a lot. And you can request your data from Amazon. And if anyone wants to scare themselves, go and get the data from Amazon. There's a form that you can click and fill in and says, I want to download my data. It'll take a few minutes. But yeah, for the consumer, it's another platform that Amazon then control, that are then making money. They're taking a little bit off the top. They'll probably keep all the developers because EA are huge, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's a big company. But you think there's been a lot of smaller companies have been bought up, and absorbed into some of these the smaller companies
yeah.
that have created games. And again, the gaming. I'm a gamer. I mean, not as like I was, but I enjoy playing games, and as we have less independence, uh, you know, and the micro. I saw someone post about the microtransactions. I can't stand those. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy. So we'll get on to the next topic, which was
Yep.
about how many free channels can you get. And this is something I've thrown it out here about antennas. I know in the UK, over the air antennas are not as prevalent. Even in Canada, they're not as prevalent. If you're in the US, there is a plethora of stuff you can watch over the air with an antenna, as long as you're not out in bumfuck Egypt. If you're in somewhere close to some good towns, there's lots of stuff you can pick up. And I've got again, this link is down below, and I'll just point out a couple things. Project Free TV is a website that you can go and put in for like put an antenna. So I want to put in, I'm gonna put in, let's see, let's do.
In the
Put,
UK, we do have antenna based systems,
okay.
and over the air, yes, it's good. We call it Freeview.
Yep.
And there's quite a few channels. It's not free though.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got a tax.
we have a TV license in this
Yeah.
country, which is 140 odd pounds, which goes to the BBC.
Yeah.
But it is considered illegal for you to have a television in your house that can receive over-the-air channels unless you have a TV license.
Yeah.
My dad used to work for the company that was responsible for that back in the day, called Capita, and was one of those really horrible people that knocked on your door and said, "Hey, sir, excuse me, you have a TV but no TV license. Do you want to pay for it?"
Hey, I want to Beach. If Beach can give me that, there's a movie. We watched a movie on Player Pass that the guy fought he fought against the government about that TV license, and
Yeah,
and he
TV
screwed his head.
license. So when you buy
This is
a TV, you have to give away your personal data when you buy a TV. So you buy a TV here in the UK and they ask for your address, and you think it's harmless for like warranties and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's actually sent off to the TV licensing agency, and then you'll receive a letter. Even if you've got a TV license, they'll automatically send you a letter and say, "So you've just bought a TV. You owe us £144 for the year."
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I was gonna. So, if you guys are wanting and you're in the U.S., put your zip code. You saw that I went through and put what kind of home I have. Am I in a home, an apartment? Do I have a window? And then it gives me suggestions for antennas. So these are suggestions of which antennas that I might want. Guarantee, I'm sure that there's going to be an affiliate link with this, but it's not a big deal. But at least it gives you an idea what equipment would pick up the channels that would work for you. Another thing that a lot of people don't really think about, and you mentioned, you were talking about being able to watch stuff, Pluto TV. So if you have an internet TV, so you have a TV that has internet access, Pluto TV is on a lot of TVs. Roku channels, there's Roku channels, or Roku, they have all kinds of free things. A lot of Pluto TV is the same that you're going to find on Roku. Just an FYI, not exactly, but you will find a lot of the same. So those are free internet. You can watch those channels. You're not going to watch HBO. You're not going to watch ESPN. You're not going to watch Sky. They're not going to have those channels, but they're going to have a lot of other content. Again, completely free. Suggestions on here: Pluto TV, Tubi TV, Free V. I don't know. I've never heard Free V. I haven't heard of that one. But Clark Howard, again, the link is down below. If you guys want to check that out, go to it and see about some options for you to be able to get TV completely free. Antenna does cost you upfront. You're going to pay for an antenna. And again, depending on your location and the home that you're in, you may be able to pick it up relatively cheap, or if you may need to buy an outdoor antenna. So definitely a cool thing to have.
Hmm.
Let's see.
So I can see that Mark in the chat has just said you don't need a license if you don't watch live TV or BBC iPlayer in the UK. You're absolutely right, Mark. But the ownership is on you to prove that you don't watch it. And so that what they do is they actually claim that you are watching it, or you have the ability to receive it. In the earlier days, before digital TV through Freeview and such, you had a UHF receiver in the back of your TV. Because you were able to receive the TV channels, you had to have a TV license. That's now changed because of the ability to watch things like iPlayer and such, which is why when you log into iPlayer, it says, "Do you have a license?" You say yes or no. And yeah, the money is totally for the BBC. If you don't watch the BBC or you don't watch iPlayer, the assumption is by the TV licensing agency is you have the ability to, therefore you owe us money, pay us, and they'll take you to court. Again, my dad was one of those guys that actually stood up in court as well and said, "You had a TV, we're going to sue you," and whatever.
All right, Carl, you need to watch the movie was The Duke.
Yep.
The Duke. It came out last year. We covered it on Player Pass. Brilliant movie. The movie is actually really well done. The acting is good. The script is good. But the storyline where this guy felt like he shouldn't have to pay that damn TV license. And it was right in, with us in our hobby, this played right into the thoughts that we have, kind of that Wild West. So you ain't going to get my money. But if you guys want to see, and this talks about the TV license, and it's a true story, how he fought against trying to not pay that TV license, and definitely worth watching. So that was, thank you, Beach. I knew that he remembered.
Was the main character's guy by any chance something like Wordsmith or Shakespeare?
I don't. I can't
Because
remember.
there's a well-known guy in the UK. If this is based on a true story, there's a guy in the UK, and his name is either Wordsmith or Shakespeare, and he ran a very popular website about against the TV licensing agency. And I
Okay,
remember my
so
dad
here's
telling me about this guy, and he had to go and see him once, and he was the type of guy that was in your face and was like, I don't have a TV, it's all your fault. You don't I don't have to prove to you that I don't watch this stuff. You have to prove that I do watch it.
yeah.
And was very much against it. And
But
yeah,
this guy was Captain Bunton. Captain Bunton was his name, and again, it's based on a true story, and it's like I won't spoil with like some of the stuff that happens in it, but definitely worth watching if
there's some
you.
good people in that. Jim
Yeah,
Broadbent, Matthew Good. I like
yeah,
Matthew Good.
it's a
He's
good
good.
movie. The movie is really good. Look at Helen Mirren's in it. I mean,
I watched that.
it is a great movie, and it's based on a true story. And again, I don't know, with us with our hobby, it was a
I'll
hit,
check it
and it
out.
was
I'll check it
yeah.
out.
So definitely check up if you want to find out about TV license. I was going to quickly jump on some of the Oculus discussions. You know about Oculus, you've heard about those, right?
Yeah, I play with you guys. I play mini golf with you guys and Nucky and Aubyns
Yeah,
and
I'm
you
I'm just
Beach and all
busting
those.
your balls.
I just haven't been on in
Um,
a long time, right?
yeah, it's been a while. So, but it just busting on balls. So Nerf Ultimate Championship, a shooter. Now, this is going to be a shooter game, and they're going to do 4-on-4. Now, the way that the article talks about, they're going to try to make this like into that what's that electronic what's that the internet gaming esports. So I
Esports.
think that they're aiming towards this to be like an esports type thing because they're going to do 4-on-4 VR arena shooter games. It's a shooter game. They're talking about the first part was going to be a 10-week season, and they're possibly I'm thinking they're trying to create this into being an esport type of thing. So if you got an Oculus and you want to check out Nerf Ultimate Championship, it's the graphics are not phenomenal, but I watched a video on it. The graphics were okay, but I think it's the whole 4-on-4 game. Some of the first-person shooter games on Oculus are decent. This one, I think they're trying to make it like an esport. So
Have you
take a
played Have you played Rec Room?
no, I haven't played Rec Room. I see everyone
So
talk about, but I hear it's got a lot of kids in it, and
it has, but
I don't
Rec
do
Room
so well
has
with a lot of kids. They get on my
has a
nerves.
they have a paintball game in there,
Oh,
which I played a lot, and that was a really fun game, proper game of paintball. And that was a good fun, and it's free. Rec Room's free, so
yeah, I've seen it's free, and but I've pulled a couple times. I thought about installing it, but I
yeah,
just saw
you
where
have to
people
drone
talks about
out the
kids.
children. You
Yeah,
have to
it's the
drone out the children.
kids,
But if you
and you know
play,
me, I
if you
don't do.
play, yeah, you don't tolerate them. I understand that. I'm the same, mate. It's like if you go into VR chat, it's just full of children. Alt
Yeah.
Space VR was better, but Rec Room. So they had they got quite a few games that you can play, and the paintball one was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
I've seen discussions on Rec Room. Lots of people talk about it, and it's got all kinds of stuff. And so yeah, I might have to try it. I might have to. And I do. I get bored though on some of the because I don't do real well with all the fast paced shooting. I kind of don't do as well. So I kind of like when you were doing the 18 wheeler. I actually had that on. I had that on. I had that on the Dreamcast. I had the
Yes.
18 wheeler on Dreamcast, and I play it like on my Shield sometimes. I'll play it
So
and just
I love Euro Truck Simulator, and I've got the Logitech G902 G962 whatever it is, steering wheel, pedals, and the gear stick that goes on the PlayStation 5 as well. And I take it into the office, I connect it to the desk, get it all set up, all key mapped out and everything. and literally me and two other friends, we just drive up and around Europe in simulated trucks, and
Yes.
it's just so much fun. And we're talking on Twitch at the same time,
Yes. Yes. Because
and
I've seen your live streams. I've seen your live
yeah.
streams.
So we're switching between Sorry, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, and then we've got Discord running, and we switch our audio between Discord and stream, and we're like, "There's people watching this."
Yeah.
We're just having a great time. I actually got my first transaction on Twitch when I was playing Euro Truck Simulator. I got £1, one whole pound.
Yeah. I've seen him doing this, and it's driving
So,
is you can't believe that people watching you play it. But I
oh,
watched him for about 20 minutes, just watching him drive through London or someplace. I was like, I was waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened. I was like a crash or a dog run out in the street or something, but nothing happened. So all right. So hey, we got to jump over here to
Flight radar.
Aubyns. We're going to go to Aubyns. One of his sites of the week. Since he's not here, he doesn't get the intro. So one of this is if you want to track all the planes flying around wherever you want to talk, you can put in an address or a city, and you can see all of the flight traffic all over the country or maybe the world. Let's see. Yeah, I'm up into Canada. I see the traffic. So if you're interested in that, it's called flightradar24.com, and you're able to find out,
They have
where all the planes.
they have a mobile app. I use it with my children. There's a plane going above us, and I go, right, what is it? Let's have a look. Literally open the app, and it uses the GPS targeting system and goes, that's an EasyJet plane. It's going to Alicante, and it's just come from Glasgow. We just have some
Well,
fun.
yeah, because you can see over here, I pulled it up, and you can see where I clicked on this one. Damn it! I clicked on this one plane, and here's the information of where it came from, where it's going, what plane it is. So yeah, I guess if you live in if you're in a small area, if you have a high congested area, it's probably a little harder to be able
So
to tell.
it was a very surreal website to check out during the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdowns because there was no planes in the air.
Yeah,
There was
true.
just no planes in the air, and every now and then, you saw a plane in the air. And you're like, "What's that one? Where's that one going?" And it was just a
That's
random.
good fun for the kid. I think that's a good point. You could have a good time with your kids.
Oh, the kids
Talk
loved
about the plane. You could talk about what kind of plane it is, and
it. I used
little
it. So
home lesson.
we had at the start of this summer. Obviously, the world is slowly returning to normal after the COVID-19 pandemic, and the world is getting back to normality. And air travel for us was one of the big things. Us Brits love a holiday, and at the
Yeah,
start,
you always going on a damn holiday.
I've got two coming up, and I'll tell you about them in a minute. We love a holiday, and because the holiday industry just went with a big bang, all of the airports struggled to have all of the people that they need to facilitate the airport running. So the check-in staff, the baggage handlers, and so on and so forth. So we were inundated with large queues. So what would usually take, you have to be in front of the airplane 2 hours before it departs for you to check in and to go through all security and all that kind of stuff. You were spending 6 hours in the queue. People were missing their planes. So we were keeping an eye on flight radar to see which planes were delayed, to see whether or not we were going to have an issue when we go to the airport. And it worked out really quite well for us. But the UK struggled with everyone suddenly wanting to go on holiday, and all of the people that were laid off because of the pandemic were like, well, I'm not coming back because I can lift and shift Amazon stuff, and I can get paid more instead of standing there and having to deal with customers. So.
Well, Toronto Airport, I know that they had this summer they were like the #1 worst airport in the whole world for almost the whole summer. They were just it was a mess. So that was one of the things when Blue was going to come down to the States, and the cost was high, #1, and #2, I was like, how long are you gonna be stuck at the airport? You might be stuck at the airport for a day or two.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So this is a site we talked about security earlier. We talked about security breaches. This is a site Aubyn found, again, one of his sites of the week, security.org, and that is about how safe is my password. So I'm gonna I'm gonna call it admin. And this website says that my password could be cracked instantly. Let me do 1 2 3 4 instantly. So let's do 1 2 3 4. Let's add a capital A, and let's say ABC. It says it could take a minute, and so you can check your password to see how hard it is. Now I'm going to use a password. I'm going to use, let's do Amazon. So I'm going to say
It's
capital A.
important to note that you're not submitting your password, because no one should really go to a website and put the real password in.
Well, no, but you could
You're,
use. All right, so
you're,
what I'm doing, I did a capital letter, and then I
yeah.
did word. I did a couple more capitals. I'm going to use a character, so I'm just going to use a character, like a dash or something, and then I'm going to use some numbers. I'm going to use like 4 numbers. I'm going to use 2222. So I used, see, 3 capitals, 4 little letters, a character, and then 4 numbers. And this gives you an idea how hard it is to crack your password.
Yeah.
Yes, O'Neill is correct. You don't want to use your exact password, but if you change it up to get an idea, what do you need to do to make it harder?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I'm going to do admin. I did a capital A, admin. Let me do a couple equal signs,
Mm. So
and then I'm
this
going
is
to do some.
so what Dabs is simulating here is when people receive passwords, or they have passwords, right? They tend to use like common things. It'll
Yep.
be
Yep.
based on either date of births or names or places
Yep.
or
Kids'
very
birth or kids' names. Yep.
and so if you know someone and you start to social engineer them, you can probably work out their password like half the time. When you don't have someone's password, you need to use a dictionary attack. So a dictionary attack is using something like John the Ripper, which will sit there on Kali Linux or on Backtrack. I think it's called John the Ripper. It's called John something. And what it will do is it will take the website or an email address, and it will basically generate and it will go through the dictionary of all the words and variations of that word to try and find the password. So for anyone that's seen Terminator 2, where John Connor has gone to the ATM machine, he pulls out that little handheld device, plugs it into the ATM machine, and suddenly it starts with 10 digits and it goes down to 4 digits at the end by cycling through all of them. That's essentially what that software does. Is it just checks every single number and goes, it's not that one, not that one, not that one. It's this one. Here you go, try this. And that's what that screen that you're showing is just showing.
Yep.
How long will it take for someone that has
Yep.
rainbow tabled or GPU hashing technology to be able to crack it. And that comes back to similar technology to Bitcoin mining. You use your GPU, not your CPU, so your graphics processor, which is faster silicon, to be able to hack the equations to generate Bitcoin. They use the same thing using the dictionary-based attacks to try and work out the hash or the relevant password for the website that your password's on.
Yep. And so this website, again, the link's down below. Guys, check it out. Put in, get an idea of what kind of passwords. And again, your capital, lower, characters. That's a character. I mean, in plus, minus, the @ sign, the number sign, those characters. Adding those and then adding numbers to make your password more difficult for things to, like he was saying, a brute force type of trying to find your password, where yes, if someone ran software, they can try to find it. So you want to make it as hard as you can. Don't make it easy. So that's again, I thought that Aubyn found this, and it was a good playing into protecting and protect your neck.
I don't know if Android does this, but certainly iOS recently on iPhones, it will randomly do a pop-up and say your passwords have been used There's too many common ones, or has
Yeah,
been
I've seen
found in
that
a
on my phone.
or found in a data breach.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will then tell you which website and then help you to change it.
Yeah,
I
Google does that when
personally,
they'll like show you the sites that you have that same password on that
yeah,
says you need to change these. I've seen that.
I use LastPass for
Oh,
my
yeah, be
password
careful.
system.
We just talked about them last week.
Yeah,
More
yeah,
data
LastPass.
breaches.
They did get a
Data
data breach.
breaches.
That's right. So I am actually in the process of moving out of LastPass and moving into 1Password. I did look at Keeper, and Keeper's quite nice, and we use Keeper at work. So I'm moving away from LastPass, but I'm moving into 1Password, and essentially that tells me how secure my password is, and has a master password with 2FA to decrypt my vault. And if I want to generate a secure password, it tells me how strong it is, and then I can customize it and say it's 128 characters with no reusable letters, or that are next to each other, and it does does exclamation marks and all these kind of things. So yeah, I'm using them. The problem with those types of systems, though, is that they're not easily replicable across your devices. Whereas if you use Chrome's password generator that's stored in your Chrome browser and your Chrome session, it's across all of your devices.
That's true. That's true. It's and I know that Auburn we talked about, and I posted it to the last week's note. He has it on a USB thing that that I can't remember, multipass or something like that. Multipass that he has. It's got all of his passwords on that USB, and it actually does sync up to his phone, this and that. So, all right. So this is a site. Since I thought we'd finish on a real negative note.
Oh,
So let's say that you want to find out if a nuclear bomb goes off where you live. Like what type of death and like what type of issues you got to worry about. So I put in here London, Greater London.
do Manchester, please. Let's do my hometown. Well, not my hometown because London's my hometown, but I'm close. I live closer to Manchester as a bigger city, so let's do Manchester because it's a shithole anyway.
Manchester. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna here we go. We're gonna go to Manchester. Bomb. If a bomb goes off, nuclear bomb goes off in Manchester, fireball happens. Then we're gonna have a heat wave, shock wave, as well as the radiation. So it gives you the get that rid of that. It gives you the information. Dang it, go away. Gives you information of like the fireball, the heat wave, the heat signature, shock wave, how many fatalities you would have. So you're talking 41,000 people would die. Injuries, a quarter of a million people would be injured. And this is if it was one of the U.S. arsenal bombs. So let's say that we'll go to USSR's largest bomb that they have. So it's a 50,000 kiloton yield. So let's go. We're gonna drop that in Manchester. Let's see how much.
A lot of us would say that we need to do that in Manchester because it's just we need to drop it on Piccadilly Gardens, just where all the rats are, all the Piccadilly rats are. And
So
when I say rats, they're actual people, not. But yeah.
So yeah, let's see if this goes off. If Russia dropped their top bomb, fatalities would be 1.7 million people, and 1.3 would be injured. Um, I mean, we're talking the radiation, the shock wave, as well as the heat signature would go 3,200 miles out, or 8,200 kilometers is how far out. It'd go almost out to Sheffield. That
Yeah.
they would have the
Where
heat
would it
all the way to
go south?
Liverpool, all the way to
South.
Liverpool. So you'd have that would be your thing again. Radiation. Most people think, well, if the bomb goes off, I got to worry about radiation. Really, it's not the rate. This is the shock wave. You see how big the shock wave? 345 miles. Shock wave, 893 kilometers, and then the heat signature would be pretty big. So, yeah, if it drops, I mean that's the big bomb. That's on the surface. If the bomb should go off in the air, yeah, if we're gonna go negative, we might as well stay with the negative. If the bomb goes off in the air, changes the factors of this. Let's see what happens. If this bomb, and this, I think we use the.
I'm interested in
So
where it goes south. So how far south does it go?
So we go all the way down to Newcastle. We're at Newcastle under
So
Lyme.
that's Newcastle. That's where I live. I live
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just next door to Newcastle under Lyme.
So you'd be having some of the heat wave. You'd have the heat,
Sweet.
and the shock wave wouldn't quite make it to you, but definitely the heat wave would hit to you. You're talking 1.8 million people would die, injuries somewhere in the neighborhood of 3.6 million people. Yeah, Auburn found this little site for us. If you want to, let's say people worry about North Korea. Let's just throw North Korea. If they dropped a bomb over on Manchester,
Leave Manchester alone. Hit Liverpool.
leave them alone. So you could see a little bit. It's quite of a smaller thing. So again, it depends. It's a neat little site. This is the outrider.org. So if you want to see how much damage is going to happen in your city, Auburn says, I want to know where I need to go. I mean, parts of it
Well,
has to do with the wind and all that crap. So we ain't going to go into that. But if it was
either
a
way,
complete
we ain't getting out of the way if there's a nuclear
no,
attack because it will hit us before we know about it.
yeah. So yeah, that was.
But I like Manchester, by the way. I'm not any. I know there's a couple of Mancunians in the chat, but I do like Manchester. I used to work there quite a lot, but it's a nice little weird place.
So yeah, that's yeah. We had to finish off the day with a nice downer, but if you get bored, then you can go and after you got done checking your passwords, you saw that someone can brute force your password in a couple minutes. Then you went and saw that there's no way for you to escape a nuclear bomb. Go to that flight plans and look at the airplanes and see what's flying overhead. So
Which plane do I need to be on?
so yeah, it's it's just a little bit of fun stuff. So yeah, we had covered lots of topics on this. Again, to me, I think a lot of it is about protecting yourself. We talked about the debris and protecting yourself with a VPN. If you're going to use torrents, please be safe with torrents. When I've done videos, I plead people, please be safe when you're using torrents. You're putting yourself in a situation where torrenting can get a letter sent to you, can create you hassle, and now, as we saw in Sweden, is creating some problems for people even more. So protect your neck, be smart. If you're smart about things, you won't have to, you won't have issues. So do that. Change your passwords, as we talked about with DoorDash having issues with security. And we're going to see these security issues happening everywhere. I mean, they're happening more and more. I mean, with like O'Neill, like you working in that field, it's not if it's going to happen. It's just when are you going to have a breach? It's because there's always somebody trying to get into something like that.
It's happening all the time. It happens more and more. And the thing is, the moment it's reported, it's already happened. You know, there is you don't necessarily tell people the moment it happens.
They normally don't.
You wait for them to remediate against it, and then you tell them about it. So
yeah, it's a good point because a lot of times data breaches have happened, and they'll tell you about it a month or 2 months later.
Yes.
So again, change your passwords. Use the two-factor authentication. Too many letters in there. Use those kind of things. Find some unique ways. There are ways that you can come up with passwords that are not O'Neill talking about using where Chrome creates random passwords that are real long. So there's different ways. Just be smart about it. Don't use the same password over and over, folks. And I know that we all hate long passwords because if you're on your Android, you got to type it all in. But just think about the time you're going to save. That because if someone gets into your accounts, if someone steals your identity, if someone gets into some of that stuff, you're going to spend days and days trying to fix the problem. So a little bit of work up front will save you time on the back end. All right, O'Neill, we're gonna get ready to go. Anything you want to say? I know that you are the owner of Antisocial Hosting. I can't recommend it enough, and I don't get an affiliate link. I don't have kickback from any of this stuff.
No, because I don't give anyone any kickbacks.
I don't get kickbacks.
Cheap enough for me to not make any money.
Yeah, great service.
antisocial hosting. We provide hosting for all sorts of things: websites, blogs, photo galleries, your businesses, your small business. If you're thinking of starting up a business, we have platforms that can help you. And then for the people in the Cody community, we offer the ability for you to host your builds and such without any disrespect. We look after you, and we try and protect you as much as we can, because it's about protecting you and protecting me and protecting the team that I work with. It's just a service that I created to help people out, and I'm not retiring on it. I don't make a great deal of money out of it, but it is something that pays. We do pay for servers to host your content, and we try and do our best. We don't get it right every time, but we do have a bloody good stab at it. That was very British of me. Bloody good show.
Bloody good.
Bloody good show. We do have
good.
a good stab at it, and occasionally, sometimes we can't support the person that wants to host their huge archive build that just doesn't, that just has far too many users. If we can't do it, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
I do talk a lot of shit. I apologize to anyone that has had to sit and listen to me rambling. If you want to catch up with me, drop me a message on Telegram. My name on Telegram is ONEILXM, so ONEILXM. Drop me a message. Happily help anyone that has any questions about anything tech or anything related to security or protecting themselves, or if they want to sit and moan about Manchester, I'll happily sit and do that as well.
Oh yeah. So again, O'Neill, I've known him for a long time, and he's helped us in a lot of ways. We talked about that earlier, and I highly recommend their service. Again, it's good, and whenever you have issues, I can send a message or put up a ticket, and they answer it. Sometimes it's silly stuff, but I mean, and it's a good price for what you get. So it is what it is on that. I did forget, since Aubyns not here to tell me. So UFC tomorrow, but it's going to be early. I'm sorry, my tab got crushed.
WWE's on tomorrow as well.
Huh?
WWE's on tomorrow as well.
Yeah, but yeah.
I know. We don't watch that because we're grown men. We don't watch blokes.
I know, but there is a lot of people that watch my show that watch WWE. There's WWE on every day, on about every day. I will say, tonight, if you want something funny, there is something on at 8:00, and the prelims start at 7:30. So in about a half hour, the prelims. Slap Fighting Championship is on tonight. If you've never watched it, you need to watch it. It is. We talked about Rough and Rowdy a few weeks back, and that was golden. That was Rough and Rowdy is so great. Slap fighting is one notch below it. Two grown adults, because I think there's women's and men's divisions. You got to stand face to face. You can't flinch, and the other guy gets to slap you as hard as he can slap you. And if he knocks you out, you get knocked out. If you can get back up and stand there, then you get to swing and slap him once. It sounds crazy. You got to watch it, because the guys that oh my God, it's funny to watch. It is.
I'm not sure I could stand there and take a slap though. I mean, I'd probably well up. I'd probably well up.
You get flinches. If you flinch, then you lose your slap. They get to slap you again. So if you flinch, or if you you can't step forward, you can't club them in the ear. So Slap Fight is on tonight, pay-per-view. Check it out in your places. I'm gonna watch it. I might actually broadcast it in Streaming Matters Room. I'm thinking about putting it on there.
Wow.
I'm thinking about putting it in there because we can all watch it together. And I don't know, or do it on Oculus. I haven't figured out which we're gonna do it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, Slap Fight. That's
I'm in Seattle in October. If there's anyone that lives in Seattle, come say hi. I'm in Seattle in October. October sort of 20th, I think it is. So if there's anyone that's in Seattle or nearabouts, come say hi. I'm over for business. I'd love to say hello and take you out for a beer or something to eat. because I need
Yeah,
friends. I need friends.
he's like trying to find something to do during that time. Yeah, I need to.
Well, I'm going to be with all my work friends, but yeah, if there's anyone in Seattle, I'd love to say hello, especially if I know them. I don't want some random guy to be like, "Yeah, hi, mate, I saw you on Stream Matters, and I'd like to take you on a drink."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a
So
bit
yeah,
awkward.
this is the fights tonight. So guys, you need to be watching it. Maybe we'll do it on I might do it in Streaming Matters room. We'll see how it goes. It is funny to watch. I don't know. I laugh at other people's pain. UFC tomorrow is at, if I'm not mistaken, it starts at like 12. I think 12 p.m. is the prelims. 3 o'clock is the main card tomorrow because it's in Paris. Bare Knuckles is at the ass crack of dawn tomorrow. So if you're a Bare Knuckles fighter or you enjoy watching Bare Knuckles, that's going to be on like real early in the morning. I want to say like 6 a.m. East Coast time or something like that. So check it out. We still got another week before the NFL kicks off, and so we'll have to wait for that. So
There's plenty of proper football on tomorrow in the UK.
yes, I've actually started trying to watch a little bit of that. I'm trying to learn it. So
What team are you following? I'd be interested to know
well,
the
I
team
think
you're
I'm gonna pull for. I think I'm gonna pull for Liverpool. No, not
following.
Liverpool. No, what's Andrew's team. Andrew
And
was the black and white
Newcastle.
Newcastle. So he's a Newcastle guy. So I'm pulling for Newcastle because he's my buddy. So
Yeah, he's
I'm,
your buddy.
he's my buddy. And college football again tomorrow. So if you guys are into college, I think it's on tonight too. But the big is going to be tomorrow. All the college teams will be playing tomorrow. So
When's Formula One on? When have we got some Formula One going?
that'll be on. That'll be on again. That'll be Saturday. Isn't it Formula Saturdays? Because they had practices. I saw something about practices earlier. So I think that's Saturday, and
So if you're a
that's in
sports
Europe
fan,
somewhere.
lots of sports on this
Oh
weekend.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's why you got to have those subscriptions. Watch all them sports.
I
Multi-screen.
pay.
Boom, boom,
I
boom,
I
boom.
actually pay for all of my legit TV.
That's good. That's
I
good.
pay for everything, and
I pay.
all my streaming services cost more than my cable service.
I guess you don't watch enough. Oh, but here PC Paul says practice today, qualifying tomorrow, race on Sunday.
Race
Thank
Sunday.
you, Paul.
Where is it? Where is it, Paul? What country are we racing out of? I don't know. I'm going Vegas, Todd. I'm going Vegas.
Vegas.
I'm going Vegas. I'm going to do the Hangover tour. I'm going Vegas.
Are you? Are you gonna do that?
Yeah,
So I
I'm
was
gonna.
going to give Paul a second to respond to that. So, but let me go ahead. We'll roll out of here because we're at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone watching. Thoughts and prayers out to Auburn for he's not doing well. He's feeling under the weather. So throw some thoughts and prayers out to him, and hopefully get him doing back in here, because it's too hard for me to try to remember the banner and try to remember this, star people's comments, and I got the other window open and my computer crashing. But thanks to O'Neill for holding down the fort while I went and
Thank you
did
for having me, mate. Always a pleasure being on here. It's a great platform, and you've got a great group of people that listen and watch and ask some really interesting questions. So thanks for having me, mate. Always a pleasure coming on here.
You know me. I got much love for you. So thanks for everyone watching. We'll see you guys somewhere on Telegram or wherever. And if you post too many questions on the YouTube comments, go to Telegram. I can answer your question better. And sometimes people try to make me answer on YouTube and on the comments, and I can only answer so much. So streaming matters to us because streaming matters to you. And we'll see you guys next week.